How do we realign?
How do we realign? I'll start by first, like you say, like I mentioned, that first and foremost, I came from a place of brokenness. And then after I began then my healing journey, the first thing that happened to me is that I found my sense of identity. And so that helped me to begin to wonder or even think about myself, because I found myself in my 40s really. So having found myself in my 40s, I began to think I at least have the courage to rise up and follow my purpose and follow that which God has deposited within me, even if I have gotten to this age. But the truth be said, many people when they hit 40, they kind of just think, you know what, it's all over. Even some people in their 30s, some people as early as in their 20s. And so my burden then became, how then do I help other people in the same predicament as I have been in to, one, be able to heal, two, be able to rediscover themselves, and then three, be able to walk in their purpose and identity. And that's how the Realignment program was born. And so what we do is, first and foremost, then we began to understand, I have to help you to understand the anatomy of a person and how brokenness then affects you. So we are made of spirit, soul, and body. Your body is your physical nature that interacts with the physical realm. So everything that you went through in your life, from the place of your childhood to teenagehood to young adulthood, everything that happened to you has an implication to who you become. So either if you went through pain, hurt, anger, all those things, they're registered within your emotions. Having them registered within your emotions, what then happens, your emotions are within your soul, by the way. So what then happens is that now your mindset begins to get affected. Either one, because of the pain or hurt or disappointment, you stop believing in yourself. For some people, their dreams die because they stopped believing. For some people, it even goes further to, yes, you're a believer, but yes, they talk about faith, but you cannot experience faith. Yes, you're a believer. Yes, you lift up holy hands, but truly the place of seeing God and being intimate with God is a bit remote for you, because you have never had the chance to be intimate with someone. You have never had a chance to feel loved by anyone, and therefore it becomes difficult for you to fathom the love of God. And because of that, what then happens, even then, trusting other people becomes a challenge. So some people, even as they go through life, you realize that they're not able to connect with, forget a lover, forget the love of an opposite sex. Even, have you ever met someone, you look at them and everyone around them says, Sijui nini, I just don't like her. And they haven't done anything. It usually stems from a rejection that they experienced in the past that they haven't dealt with. As a result of that anger that is within them, that's what they seem to be attracting over and over again. So then, the other thing that seems to happen as a result of the pain that people go through, and now the emotions are affected, their mindset is affected. So they stop believing in themselves, they stop believing in God, and they stop believing in other people. What then happens is that their willpower and zeal and enthusiasm for life is taken out. Yes, this person wakes up in the morning, they go to work, but they're doing the bare minimum. They go to school, but they're doing the bare minimum. Their capacity to dream is taken out. Such people, if you encounter them, when they were young, they were full of zeal, passion, they had great dreams, but something happened along their way. It looks like even their personality changed. What then happens is now I'm going to the soul. I've dealt with the spirit, now I'm going to the soul. The spirit, rather. I've dealt with the soul, so I'm going to the spirit. So what then happens is then your capacity, your spirit is actually supposed to hear the voice of God. God speaks to each and every one of us. But your capacity to hear is impeded by the fact that your soul is broken, and because your soul is broken and the soul and the spirit work very closely together, the capacity of your spirit man to hear is taken out. Now, when you talk about realignment program, first we focus on you as an individual.
As an individual.
So
before we come in as a couple,
yes,
I need to work on myself.
Yes.
As Willie.
Yes.
Before
it's
Jane
not even
comes
you.
in.
Yeah, it's not even you working on yourself. It is us helping you to know yourself. Now, the difference between what we do and, for example, what the world does is to say you work on yourself.
Yes.
We understand that if it is not the help of the Holy Spirit will. Some of the pain that we went through is very difficult for us to unravel.
Stop right there. Because what I'm getting is, for me now to get realignment, at first, I must accept that I have an issue. There's something that is not working right in me. Yes. And then now after that, I can be able to look for someone who can help me work on myself.
Yes, because by the time people come to us, it's because maybe, yes, you just realize that your life has hit autopilot, you have hit a dead end, and you don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. You understand? Yeah? So that's the time that people come. But that is to tell anyone who is out there, if you're feeling stuck, even in a relationship, in a job, in a marriage, whatever, if you feel like your dreams have come to an end, it's not that you have simply hit a pothole. You can be helped to rise up again.
Yes. So there is hope.
There is hope. Mm. So that's what we do. Mm-hmm. So what then we do is to help you. Now, what I've told you is the ideal. Yeah. So what we do now is to help you to trace who you are. Remember, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. Mm. So God had a template for you, Will. He had a template for me, and he has a template for you, dear viewer. Yeah. So that template is what, by the grace of God, we need to try to look for. It is traced throughout your life journey. You'll be able to see parts of moments where you begin to see yours. The gold that's beginning to show that the gold in Will is like this. But because of the experiences of the past that seem to cover him, to hinder everything that is meant to be, we are not able to encounter him. So we try and help you to begin to see yourself correctly. That's why it's a journey. We hold your hand, or I hold your hand. By the grace of God, we go through until we're able to touch the base, rock bottom. Now, the reason why I was telling you my story, remember I told you about my rejection at birth, because that's where, for me, I began to lose my gold. Where else did I begin to lose my gold? Remember, I grew up in a family of 3 older girls. Now, my older sisters are introverts. I turned out to be an extrovert. So what was I told? Kiherehere. You get
so
it?
They're adding more injury.
They're adding more injury. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. So what am I saying? That throughout your life, the things that you will encounter will tend to seem to cover you. Mm-hmm. Then I grew up, and many times, by the way, in Black Africa, they don't know how to deal with a woman who seems to have a mind of their own, who seems to be expressive. People will always try to put you down. Yeah. So that became my pattern. You understand? So now it is now tracing beyond the patterns. That is healing. But then we must be able to trace who was Judy. Then now we are able to trace, you are a writer. There, let's go. You are a speaker. Let's go. You are a leader. Let's go. This is what now we need to repackage. Once you're able to get who you are, then now we can work with what you have. Granted, when you know who you are, what you have within you, it becomes easier for you to look at the trash. Then let's begin to see what is it that covered you along the journey of your life that then hindered you to become everything that you are meant to be. If we are able to trace that, what that will do for you, first and foremost, you'll get confidence. Why? Because you'll remember who you are. You'll remember who God created you to be. You will remember what you have. If your eyes are open to see that, then now you have the courage to see the trash. Then now you remember that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. All these, by the way, are plots by the enemy to take away your destiny. Most of the time, the thing that is hit most is the thing that is actually the gift that God gave you for the world. Remember that they hit me and they said, Kiherehere, yet it is my speaking will that is helping me today. So once you're able to overcome, look at the trash, then now you're able to rise above it and heal. Healing then stops becoming about you doing the work, but healing becomes about you changing perspective and being able to see yourself correctly. Once your perspective has changed, the next thing that will happen is that your dreams, you'll begin to see your identity, you'll begin to see your purpose, and then your perspective, and you'll begin to dream again. You see, once you're able to find that dreamer in you, You're in a marriage. Say you're not married. Let's start from there. If you're not married, as an example, what will happen? You will not go to negotiate in a relationship from a different standpoint because you know who you are, you know what you have. You're no longer desperate.
Yeah.
That changes something.
And actually what is coming in my mind as we are having this discussion is, should one realign while in marriage or even before you get married?
Yes, I think it's a plus if you can realign before you get married. But does it mean that if you're married, as an example, that this hope is lost for you? No, not at all. It means that then you do have work to take your personal journey and reclaim your destiny. Remember, before you're a spouse, you're an individual.
Yeah.
And the truth is, the wounded version of you is not able to give your spouse a good deal. A lot of the marriage challenges that we are facing is not because we are bad people, but because we are carrying a lot of brokenness from the past. So if we can be able to heal, then at least you can fulfill your end of the bargain. And that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So once then you have dealt with you being able to heal and being able then, what then will happen is that you will be able to connect at an emotional level, at a relational level more deeply. Why? You're emotionally healed.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I was talking about in the last series that sometimes you can be married and not connected is because if you're emotionally wounded, you cannot connect with someone at an emotional level. Therefore, your marriage is even having a road deal.
People just be seeing people walking together.
Yes.
But the two of you,
you're not one. And there's no intimacy in the marriage because of the emotional wounds. So you have to work on yourself first so that you're able then to connect with another person and pour out. And that's why we're talking about spirit. You know, we're talking about realignment, to talk about the spirit. When you're spiritually aligned, meaning that you're able to tap into the love of God, what then will happen is that you're able to pour out to your spouse without necessarily waiting for an exchange. I'm pouring out from the overflow.
Yeah. But now, what happens when one person have decided to work on him or herself, but the other one is doing nothing?
You see what happens. Do you know when you take this journey, what will happen is that your eyes will open. You'll begin to see people and understand their own journey. You'll understand that, you know what, I went through this and this made me this way. My partner went through this and this made them this way. You will extend grace. Because marriage is actually supposed to be an institution where we come to make the other person better.
Yeah.
It's the truth, isn't it? Yeah. So as you grow, then you will also see it as your responsibility. And then the other thing that will also happen is because you are healed and you can see the other person's perspective, do you know your prayer changes? You pray out of love. You can pray them back into the place they're supposed to be because you are taking your position. You are no longer complaining about your spouse. You understand what they went through and that why it has made them that way. You get it?
Yeah. But to be able to get all this understanding,
I have to go through my journey.
Yes.
Yes.
Now you have gone through your journey.
Yes.
And now you have this understanding.
Yes.
What about now? There's this couple, they don't have this understanding.
That's why we
and
are
right
here.
now, they are watching us.
Yes, that's why we are here to tell you, dear wife, to tell you, dear husband, there is hope. All you need to do is to take time, find out where you came from, take your healing journey. As you rediscover yourself, then you have hope and you have joy. Then you will be able to have something to give to your marriage.
Wow. What are some of the steps a couple should take to realign in their marriage?
I think the first and foremost, let's start for you as an individual. Let's start for each person as an individual. Start by finding out. Remember where you came from. Remember your mother, your father. How did they relate? Whether you like it or not, you carried that brokenness into your marriage.
So there are some of us who are suffering because of our backgrounds.
Actually, most of the problems that we are relating is because of where we came from. A lot of the brokenness that we have is because of where we were raised. So try and find out, where did you come from? How was my mother? How was my father? And please kick this notion of African notion of trying to create a perfect picture for our families. That's where we miss it. We miss out on the part where we can say, I went through this, or my mother went through this, or my father went through this, but I do have a chance of making it better. We are not blaming them, but we are saying we can make it better. We can lay a new foundation for our lives, for our marriages, and for our future generations.
So there is hope.
A lot of hope. A lot of hope. So we have to start back there and say, okay, fine, this is what I bring into my marriage. This is where I came from. But it means that by the reason of my healing, I do have a chance to write a better script. This is where my spouse came from. Maybe if you and your spouse are in the same space, you can actually talk about it. That this is what I saw. This is what I saw. I think this is what my mother went through. So you know what? It will also help your spouse to know how to help you. That's what happened to me. The moment I was able to open up about it, my spouse then became more understanding of me, and he was able to help me out. And then even as he also was going through his own challenges, then because I was coming from a place of understanding, we're able then to say, this is the kind of script that we would like for our own family. Now you begin to work towards oneness. Yes.
How do we work on this oneness?
How do we work on this oneness? Oneness happens when you are spiritually aligned.
So last time we were talking about being unequally yoked.
Yes.
So will you be one in spirit when this is a believer, the other one is not a believer?
It might be a bit of a challenge, but that is to give hope to the person who is the believer, that after you get aligned, you as an individual, you stand a better chance. Why? Because let me tell you, the reason why we are even unable to actually to convert people into Christianity is because we are saved, but we are carrying wounds. So we are not able to actually send the love of God to our spouses.
Oh yeah.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
So once you are aligned and healed, you become a better spouse. Then you become even more attractive to this person. Then it's easier then to work as one.
Wow.
Are you getting?
Wow. This is powerful.
So it's not a death sentence. Even for those people who are unequally yoked, you can become a better spouse. Work on becoming a better spouse. Then that other spouse can be won over by the love that you will give because you are aligned. And because you are aligned and drawing out from the presence of God, drawing love from the presence of God, imagine you'll be pouring out of the overflow. And letting God do his work through you.
I'm allowing this to sink. Because I feel like there are many people out there.
Yes.
And especially as you're talking about being unequally yoked, you're not able to win your spouse to Christ because of the way you treat them. Yes. But the problem is you have you
even
don't
you have
even have no
bitterness.
idea.
Yes, you have bitterness, you have anger, and granted, amekukosea. Umeelewa?
So you need to heal first.
You need to heal and find out where you came from. You need to heal. After you're healed, you can love.
So there will be no love if you have not realigned.
Aye. What are you know, this love of Nini Kwando Siasmia is not love. This love of Kwando Siasmia is not it. You're waiting for chocolates at the door. Now we are redefining love.
Yes.
We are now, by the reason of this kind of love that we're talking about, that is coming from the place of being in the presence of God. Let me tell you, love people with their faults.
Love people with their faults. Because they have faults.
They do.
They are not angels.
They are not angels.
Repeat that again. Repeat that again.
I'm talking about the kind of love where because you have dwelt in the presence of God, you are loving out of the overflow and you love people with their faults. Realignment.
How does a couple realign together now? You have dealt with yourself as an individual.
Yes.
But maybe you realize as a couple, there's an issue we are going through. Now this is at couples level.
Yes.
This is not wife, this is not husband, but us as one now.
Yes.
How or what are some of the steps we should take to
Okay.
realign?
I think one of the things that you need to do is to have openness and agree with about the challenges of where you came from and all that. And then remember that we're talking spirit, soul, body. Please become committed to pray together. And I'm not talking praying to eat and sleep. Pray, ask God, what is the vision that you have for this family? Pray even for the challenges of where he came from and the challenges of where she came from. You know, when two come together, you become a powerhouse. And that is what the enemy is fighting. So, first, coming to that place where you begin to contend in the place of prayer. Do you know, actually, when you contend together in the place of prayer, even love flows. And I'm not talking love of condosesmia again. I'm talking about the pure kind of love. Where you know what, mtakosana mtapitana, but over and above that, you have a reason to stay because there's something deeper.
You know, there's something I always tell couples, that every couple, there's that God-given purpose God has for you as a couple. Not the purpose of marriage, but as a couple.
That's true.
But you cannot be able to find that purpose if you have not realigned.
That's true. That's true, because you have to come to the place where even intellectually you begin to see the same things. You understand? Or you can even have a discussion. This is what I think. This is what, just be able to have a discussion of and I'm talking about alignment in totality, what God desired, and then to be emotionally connected. Because I'm emotionally connected to my spouse, I don't want to hurt them. It stops becoming an effort. It becomes out of an awareness, a knowing. You get what I'm saying? Yes. And then you begin to pursue the same things. Now you have zeal and enthusiasm because your vision becomes one. Now, to speak to couples, we are coming to the end of the year. Please come together and do a vision board together. Why? Because you will wake up and chase the same things. Come up with a mission statement. What does this family stand for? I've seen that this is where I came from. I've seen that this is where you came from. These are the faults, but what are we aligning to? What are we saying our family is going to represent? Come together and create a mission statement. Come together and say, these are the values. It's interesting. You wake up in the morning to go to your place of work, Will. You know the vision and the mission of the organization that you work for. And the values. But you don't know the vision, the mission, and the values of your own marriage.
That's a challenge.
Hey, this year, 2023, we are getting into it different.
Yes.
Decide what value, what is important to you, my spouse, what is important to me. Let's write down. These are the things this is the environment that we are going to set up. You have to be intentional. It's not going to come by abracadabra. You have to be intentional about saying, these are the mission, this is our mission statement, these are our values, these are the things that we are going to live by. Granted, even if the other person, one of you might falter along the way, then you can go back and say, this is what our vision statement said. There's a commitment to this thing. If you can, print it. Put it in your bedroom.
Yes,
as a reminder.
Every morning.
This is the vision statement. This is the mission statement of this home. Come up with a vision board. Draw the house. Go on to the internet together. Sit down with paper and pen and a manila. Do this thing. It helps you people to go into 2023.
And the key thing here is two of you.
Two of you, not one.
It is not one person. You go, do your planning.
Yes, and then you come and put there. No, that will help you to see, to work on it together. This is what I'm seeing. What do you see? It helps to bring the spirit of agreement. So that as we walk into 2023, we do as a family have a vision for where it is that we want to go.
Wow.
Now, talking about physical, it's important for you as a couple to decide what works for you, what doesn't. Some environments won't work. They will not be able to foster the family unity to take you where you need to go. That means that you must be very, very aware of the environment that encourages you as a couple to stay together, to work on what it is that God wants you to go, where you want to go. Look at the Tower of Babel. Those people are going to go very far if they were united. And that is it for marriage. We can go very far
if we are
united. And that is what the enemy comes to fight. But the truth is, we can only come together in unity to the degree that we are aligned. And that's why it's important for us to pursue alignment. You pursue alignment. We work together on a journey of helping one another, so that then by the grace of God, we achieve spirit, soul, and body connection. That is the highest form of connection, and that is how we can be able to fulfill the purpose of God.
Wow. And imagine I'm told that our time is up.
So we have finished well. So we have finished well.
Very well.
Yes.
And I want you to give your parting shot, even as you bring your Christmas greetings.
Okay.
Yes.
My parting shot, dear couple, those who are married and even those who are getting into marriage, just to encourage us and tell us, you know what, there is hope, we can heal, we can find ourselves and be able to pour out and be able to be united with our spouses. That is God's purpose for us. As we get into 2023, my challenge for you, come together, do a vision board together, sit down, come together with a vision, mission, values of your marriage, and by the grace of God, let us get into 2023 praying together, healing from our wounds, and being committed to stay in our marriages. And by the grace of God, we will come back at the end of 2024 and celebrate the doing of the Lord. This is me, Judy Mzungu Jabali, wishing you a Merry Christmas and wishing you a very prosperous 2023. Go ahead and smash those goals to the glory of God.
Wow. Amen.
How can